All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's episode 72 of Gridiron Zeros podcast. Great drop, Al. We got our special guest. We got our special guest in the building today. Our Patriots expert is coming on for the AFC East offseason recap. Judd. Judson, how you doing today?
Doing good, buddy. How about you?
I'm doing very well. As always,
too.
my co-host Al is joining us.
Yeah, fuck him.
Al, how you doing?
Doing good. This has been a very aggressive, chippy,
It's a chippy
Saturday
podcast
morning
today.
podcast. So
we are excited. It is the schedule release episode on top of our AFC East offseason recap. So we talk about primetime games. We talk about games that are interesting for this year. We go through that in the first segment, AFC East offseason recap, as I mentioned, and then we close the show out with the Lions segment as we kind of dive into their schedule, see the primetime games, the strength of schedule, where the bye week is, all sorts of goodies. Gentlemen, anything else to add?
no, man, excited. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm just excited.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's jump right in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the schedules have been released for all 32 NFL teams. More importantly, the schedules have been released for primetime games, which is honestly, my favorite thing to critique in the NFL. Just because every year some games get on there that should not be on there and have absolutely no business being on there. For example, last year, the Broncos had, I think, 4 primetime games in the first 6 weeks. I know Russell Wilson being in Denver was a huge deal. Absolutely no business putting them on there that many times. So we have 3 categories. We're each going to name one game for each one. We have the NFL, the game that the NFL got right, the sneaky game of the year candidate, and the game that should get somebody fired for greenlighting it. So, does anybody want to go first?
Well, I was going to ask, which category are we starting with?
Let's save fire for last.
Okay, I was just gonna say do that.
So we can go ahead. Let's get NFL got right first.
Okay.
Why don't we let our guest go first?
Judd, why don't you lead us off?
Well, I think the game of the year is going to be always a good matchup. Is Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. That's
game they
got right.
Game they got right. Yeah, they always
Chiefs Bengals.
Chiefs Bengals, always good matchup. Like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady.
What week and what night is that on?
Week 17. It is.
Week 17. Is that?
I like it.
It's like one of those like pre-playoff games too. You know, it's got that feeling at the end of the year. Like they're presumably both going to be really good at that point. Like it's a little preview of the playoffs. I feel like, and that matchup now has kind of become one of the best rivalry games in the league.
I would agree.
Yeah, especially after this last one in the playoffs, like Bengals getting, I don't know, I don't want to say jobbed, but maybe a little bit. But regardless, these have been close, exciting games in the last couple of years and becoming one of the new best rivalries in the league. So I think that's an excellent first pick.
Al, what about you?
My pick for the game the NFL got right, kind of a weird one, and I guess it kind of depends on how the Aaron Rodgers situation works out. I think it is going to work out for the Jets, and they're going to be a good team this year. But how about Chargers-Jets, Week 9, Thursday Night Football? The Thursday night games have been pretty hit and miss, especially last year after starting with Amazon broadcast. I feel like there was a big chunk of games that were just unwatchable. And this is a midseason matchup with the spiciest offseason move, probably Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets.
Yep.
Justin Herbert obviously is must-see TV, and these teams don't play each other all the time.
No.
Yeah, so I feel like this is a really interesting matchup. Could be a shootout. I don't know. Maybe it could be an exciting blowout game. So lots of high-powered offense. That one stuck out to me as far as one of the ones that they got right.
I will say about that pick, Al, I like the pick because the Chargers have 3 receivers that are like big, like 6'3".
Well, you know, 2 of them aren't going to be playing.
Well, we all know that, yeah.
That's just classic Chargers.
Yeah.
This is insane, you fool.
That's true.
I'm kind of sick of watching the Chargers. I feel like I know who they are at this point, and I don't know. They don't get me up anymore.
I want winners.
And I don't mean that in a sexual innuendo way, but
well, that's kind of how you pitched that. But...
we'll move on from that then.
Go yourself.
My NFL game that they got right. I feel like this was just a no-brainer. After the Aaron Rodgers trade, they probably bumped this up. Buffalo at New York, week 1, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, how about that? Start off the year.
You cap off the week with probably 2 of the biggest heavy hitters in the AFC. Aaron Rodgers' first game as a Jet. Got Buffalo, who is coming off another year of are they the team? Are they not the team?
Yeah, you were just saying how the Chargers are kind of not getting you up anymore.
You feel that way about Buffalo?
That's how I feel about Buffalo now. Yeah, they after I don't know, just after last year's disappointing playoff exit. I don't know. It kind of just they all season. We talked about how hyped up they were, and we were also saying that they were really good too, and we were riding the hype train. But yeah, they just were like the darling of last year, and they made a pretty disappointing run.
Technically, a regress.
Yeah, technically. And I'm just kind of sick of them a little bit. So
understandable.
Go prove something.
I feel like the difference between the Bills and the Chargers, though, is that the Bills are still, top 3 team in the AFC, whereas the Chargers are a little bit more.
Are they though?
Mediocre.
Yeah,
you think?
It's Bengals,
AFC?
Chiefs, Bills. Until the
three...
Jets prove otherwise, it's Chiefs, Bengals, Bills.
I think that number 3 slot is
it's up for grabs this season.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's the
Dolphins could flirt with that.
Jaguars.
I don't think they're quite there.
Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet. Okay.
Yeah, maybe if they take a big jump this year.
Yeah. But Jimmy Buffett, aka Doug Peterson.
Go yourself.
Pug Dieterson. If you watch the Jaguars release video, which was very funny. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it.
Oh, shucky, ducky, quack, quack.
Also a good segue into my sneaky game of the year candidate. Week 13.
Are we going snake here where it starts with you and we'll go back? Okay.
Exactly. Absolutely. Right. Week 13, Monday Night Football, Cincinnati travels to Jacksonville. 2 teams that I feel like consistently, well, Jaguars did this only last year, but the Bengals have been doing it the last couple of years, have really come on at the end of the year. They really find their stride, and both teams, if they keep following this trajectory, will find their footing late in the year, probably be hitting their stride right around this time, and it's going to be a really good matchup. Hopefully Trevor Lawrence takes another leap and is, the next Joe Burrow at this point, a young quarterback that is going to be somebody to deal with for years to come. So that's my sneaky game of the year.
Yeah, I want to throw this out too, and we'll talk about it more with the AFC South, breakdown when we get there, or whatever, our kind of off-season discussion with them. But they cannot be a team that comes out and they're just kind of hitting their stride at the end of the year or midway through. Kind of like the Lions, they need to get off to a pretty hot start here. I think they started to really get rolling at the end of last year, but I don't know, that division is up for the taking. That they should be in the driver's seat for that division next year. So I don't know, they need to come out hot. But no, I like the pick.
Me too. I like the pick too.
I guess with the reverse order here, I'll go with my potential surprising game of the year candidate.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a primetime game. I just want to say this is that juicy of a game to me that I feel like I had to throw it out there. This is a week 4 matchup. And Lucas, you're going to hate this. I already know you're going to hate it because it's featuring Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson. This could be a really.
Might not even be playing by then.
No, that's nonsense. That's garbage.
I think this could be a really exciting game. I mean, obviously Lamar is Lamar, and they've added a lot of weapons around him, and he's got his deal finally. So hopefully they can just lock in, and their defense is a lot of fun to watch too. But really, it's the Lamar versus Anthony Richardson show. Like, two of probably the most mobile physical quarterbacks. I think Anthony Richardson will be playing by then. I'm pretty sure. I don't think Gardner Minshew will be holding down the fort for very long, even if he does, because the Colts are, again, like we said in the last episode, one of the only teams where it would make sense for Richardson to play right away if they drafted him. So I think it's going to be the two of them versus each other, and it's just going to be like a lights-out offensive explosion kind of game.
You're right, Al. I did hate that.
No.
I don't know. That just doesn't seem like a very exciting game to me. Baltimore is a very boring team to watch. I get that Lamar Jackson is very good.
Think about all the rushing attack, potential in that game. You got the two quarterbacks. You got Jonathan Taylor. Like, I don't know.
You got J.K. Dobbins.
They got a rotation.
Yeah.
OBJ. I don't know. Whatever that's worth.
Oh yeah, that's right. Judd, your sneaky game of the year candidate.
Mine is actually overseas game, actually.
Oh.
It's going to be Tyreek Hill versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
Good pick, Judd. I like that a lot. I think Dolphins versus Chiefs, that could definitely be another sort of two teams that don't like each other kind of rivalry. You got the
Tyreek's already talking shit, by the way.
Fantastic.
Already.
Love to hear that. You got Jalen Ramsey, who's a massive shit talker.
Yep. And also, too, I guess the Chiefs are really keeping an eye on Tyreek because they're keeping a list like what he does, mouthing off, talking shit about the team he used to play for. So
nice.
it's a great pick, I think, personally.
You think Tua will be playing in this game?
Depends.
I mean, we'll get all into that today. I mean,
oh shit,
with our breakdown. So
yeah,
I must have missed something.
Well, no, I mean, he's not like, there's not like a big development or anything. I'm just saying, like, the track record of him missing time has been.
What week is that?
It's week 9.
Week 9. Yeah, I don't know, Al. That's a good point. He might not be playing. Who knows?
Might be the Skylar Thompson show.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They brought somebody in, didn't they?
Yeah, Mike White.
Hey, Mike White.
Oh,
that's
all
right.
But let's hope it's the Mike White show. Very good. Love that pick. What about your game that should not be on prime time? Let me also start out by saying there are some teams that have just way too many primetime games for the team that they're going to be this year.
Detroit.
No, I wouldn't allude to them. The fuck?
Who hurt you? Who hurt you? Who hurt you? Who hurt you? Who hurt you?
I mean, who counts Thanksgiving anymore? I don't. We have 4, and one of them also is a Saturday game, so I don't really count that one either.
Judd, what is your worst selected primetime game of the year?
Well, that's easy. Dallas and the Giants.
That week 1 Sunday Night Football, right?
Yeah, I always can't stand watching that game. I'd rather do something else than watch that game. I'm so tired of looking at Jerry Jones.
Would you rather peel your eyelids off than watch that game?
I actually would, yeah.
Misery, misery, misery. That's what you've chosen.
I do get Cowboy exhaustion. I understand that. It's not as much Giants exhaustion. It's definitely Cowboys. The NFC East games always, no matter if they're good or bad, will get primetime slots. So
yeah,
at least
same thing with the AFC West.
At least 3 out of the 4 teams in that division were playoff teams last year. So I don't know, but the NFC East never swings the same way when the new year starts. It always is like one year they're like really good, and then the next year they're all just dog shit. Like it happens all the time. So I think the Eagles are going to be the only team that is the exception there. But
I agree. I do wish that they would start to move away from these. Like we have to have these classic matchups, these classic divisional matchups on prime time every year.
I feel like how I try and tell you that the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers are an iconic matchup. Yeah. It's like, guys,
it's like
it's the most boring.
I don't
game.
Fucking care anymore.
Yeah,
like nobody gives a shit anymore, except for the two fan bases. So, yeah, I agree, Judd. I think that that's like encompassing, I feel like, all divisional matchups
Yeah.
at this point. Like, get games where it's NFC versus AFC, because we only see them once every 4 years or something like that.
Like the Super Bowl pick. Like, it's like last year with Kansas City with Philadelphia. I mean, let's see that over this garbage game.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of slots to fill, so I don't always hate the choices, but I will. My pick. They're one of the teams that Judd had in there is in mine, so I guess we didn't all have the same one. I guess this might be kind of surprising because they were both playoff teams last year, but I have the Seattle Seahawks going to the New York Giants in MetLife on Monday Night Football. I believe it is a Week 4 matchup.
That is pretty ugly.
Not doing a lot for me. I don't know. It's like I honestly think the primetime schedule on the whole was pretty decent this year. It was kind of hard to pick a real true stinker, but like,
just wait till mine.
Well, I don't know, something about this game. There's just like there's not any like star power to this game. Like when Saquon Barkley is the biggest star of the game, I feel like that speaks for itself as to how exciting like the players are in this game. Geno Smith and the Seahawks just kind of a snoozer. I don't know. Like, don't
you dare talk down on Geno like that.
I do have another.
He's so good that they structure his contract that they can get out of it at any time. Yeah. So yeah, I don't expect him to have another miraculous
season.
Year. Yeah,
that's fair.
So this game, Daniel Jones, snooze. Giants were scrappy last year, but they're. I don't think they'll have the same level of success. I don't think the Seahawks will either. So this is one of those games that by the time it's Week 4, they might both be like 2-2, 1-3, and no one would be surprised. And
or
it's
2-3 or something.
No, couldn't be that because
it's Week 4
games.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, Judd, before we get into honorable mentions, let me just rattle off mine.
Yeah.
And I can't believe you guys let this one slip through the cracks. It was by far the worst primetime game that was put on television last year.
Oh, I think
it's not even close. And the fact that they doubled down and gave it to us again this year is a disgrace to football fans everywhere. It's honestly a slap in the face. And if I'm Bezos, I'm saying no. Give me a different game that week. How can you let Chicago and Washington play on Thursday Night Football again?
I thought about this. I did think about this one.
Low-hanging fruit? Was it just too easy?
No, honestly, because like on paper, maybe, like I said, Seattle, New York, 2 playoff teams. These 2 teams not, and they're
not
much
close.
more in the basement. But for me, it was the simple fact of
young quarterback
Justin Fields versus Sam Howell is more interesting to me than Daniel Jones versus Geno.
Yeah,
this is definitely a slap in the face for sure.
I think Justin Fields is like probably going to take a step this year, and he's going to be more fun to watch. The Bears had a nice offseason.
They better fucking hope.
I don't know, man. I don't hate this match. Last year, absolute dog shit, terrible, and I agree it was the worst of the worst. Even with those putrid orange helmets.
Even
the Bears
even if the Bears do make a jump, or I'm sorry, Justin Fields makes a jump, it's not like the Bears are going to be that much better than they were last year. In Washington, what have they done to make their team better than last year?
Not much.
Nothing.
Just fire their general manager.
They sold the team. I guess that's good.
Nothing.
I do have one more. This might be a disgrace for this pick too. So
honorable mention from Judd. Go ahead.
The Saints versus the Carolina Panthers.
I
don't like it.
Bryce Young.
That's the only reason.
You can't. I mean, Frank Reich, Bryce Young. There's a little bit of juice. A little bit.
Yeah, but
Derek
Carr and Dennis Allen, who worked together in Oakland, hasn't really gotten off to a good start, and Dennis Allen's already on the hot seat for that.
I don't hate it. It's not great, but I don't hate it as much as I dislike maybe that Commanders one. But
it's just. It's not. I think the Chicago one is a good one too, but to me, it's just not good.
But these were honorable mentions. Lucas, what is your de facto
pick? Chicago is one of those teams that I was mentioning. Too many primetime games this year. Nobody needs to be watching Chicago that much. I get that Justin Fields is an up-and-coming quarterback that could be good in this league. Until their team figures it out, don't need to see him. The other team, also way too many primetime games, has no business considering that they will now be one of the bottom teams in the NFL. Green Bay at New York Giants in week 14 on Monday Night Football. That late in the season, and we can't figure out something better. Green Bay ain't going for a playoff spot. New York, maybe, but that has no playoff implications. Nobody's going to want to see Jordan Love at that point. That is just a horrible, horrible game to put on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, not a good primetime game. That's why you bury the 1 o'clock slot.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Or put it at London over something.
No, I wouldn't waste the spot. I mean, it's a boring game. It's not a good game. I don't know.
Terrible.
Not a primetime game. I agree. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Any other mentions before we move on to our AFC East recap?
I mean, obviously, I think Lucas and I, our favorite game of the year, we're probably going to talk about in the Lions segment. But the season opener, I mean, how do you get better than that? I mean, that's pretty great. So 5 primetime games for the Lions. Pretty wild.
We'll get into that later on, Al.
Like I know. I'm just excited. I'm excited.
The podcast works.
Everyone's very, very chippy right now, like chipping at each other. It's a
chippy podcast here on
aggressive.
Saturday morning.
It's aggressive.
Let's go ahead. Let's jump into our AFC East recap. Okay, gentlemen. AFC East recap. I suppose we start out with the Jets. I mean, that's the most obvious one.
Oh, yeah. We have to.
They bring in Aaron Rodgers. They bring in his buddies, Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard.
Mm-hmm.
They signed Cole Hardman. So solid wide receiver room already starting out.
Overflowing,
100%. Garrett Wilson is still there. Elijah Moore is gone, traded to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Solomon Thomas and Quentin Jefferson are back. Quincy Williams is back. They re-signed a couple guys on the defense. Overall, what do you guys think so far?
Also, too, Lucas, you missed one piece.
What did I miss?
His good buddy from Green Bay.
Nathaniel Hackett.
That's one, but there's another one.
Gosh, I'm missing another one? Who?
Yeah. Our legend friend from the Detroit Lions, Tim Boyle.
Oh, Tim Boyle to be the backup. Wow. That's right.
Go yourself.
Timmy Boyle to be the backup to Rodgers. Well, I guess.
Well, no. I mean, Zach Wilson is.
The third stringer behind Zach Wilson. Well, let's not jump to any conclusions. Right. I mean, who the hell knows what's going to happen with Zach Wilson? But the one thing that I guess wasn't great to me, but I understand why they did it. Nathaniel Hackett in as OC. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he was horrible as a head coach.
Good OC though, and good with Rodgers.
Yeah,
and I think I know why. I think Rodgers shoves his hand up Hackett's ass and uses his mouth like a puppet. Shout out the other guys. I guess that in that sense, it makes sense.
Yeah, I just wonder what this whole situation would have looked like if the Jets do all this stuff, like bringing in Nathaniel Hackett, they get Alan Lazard, they stack
Cobb
the wide receiver
was
room.
Post Rodgers, but let's just pretend it wasn't.
Yeah, and then everything, like the whole idea is that we're doing this to court Aaron Rodgers to get him to play. What if like he was like, yeah, I'll play, and then he was like, nah,
I'm gonna go to Vegas.
Yeah, well, or just like I'm not gonna play for you. You just like retired instead, like because it sounded like it was only gonna be the Packers, the Jets, or retirement. And
it was definitely a 90% retirement. I heard.
So it would have been weird if this didn't work out, but it did, and he's the New York Jet. It's very strange. Rocky number 8.
His old college number in Cal.
It's weird to see him follow in the footsteps of Brett Favre, leaving the Packers to the Jets.
Let's hope that he doesn't follow the exact same footsteps.
Hey, they weren't bad for a good chunk of the year.
I'm referring to him sending a dick pic to that reporter.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Well, yeah, so that's the big story here. I mean, they obviously needed to address the QB situation, and Zach
They
Wilson is it's funny too because they're also kind of being like acting like they're not done with Zach Wilson either. Like that he's like definitely still the long-term plan that he'll just have to,
sit behind Rodgers
back up
for a year or
Rodgers
two.
and that he'll
learn
behind one of the greats and everything. I'm calling horseshit on that. They're out on him because in today's NFL, this isn't a situation. If you're the franchise quarterback, you're the franchise quarterback pretty early, and that's it. I mean, even if you struggle, like they give you the reins for a while, and if you're the guy, you're the guy. If you're not, you're not. There's no bring in a veteran after you've been a starter, sit behind him, and then come back into the starting role. It doesn't happen.
I don't know. I think it could happen with Zach Wilson. I mean, it's a really interesting scenario where they're in a win now situation. So, and Zach Wilson clearly wasn't getting the job done. So they bring in Rodgers. Wilson sits behind him, gains knowledge for 2 years, and then they give him another shot, I would say, for a year. And if he isn't still working out, then they go back to the drawing board and draft somebody.
But for this year, I mean, for you guys, is adding Aaron Rodgers alone? I mean, obviously they've added a couple other pieces as well, but like, does this move actually put them in the conversation as a Super Bowl champion team?
My question still is the offensive line for the Jets, because they didn't really draft any in the draft.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, they have guys they brought back, but
they did lose a couple.
And Rodgers is used to having a pretty good one in Green Bay,
right?
Honestly, I mean,
but I know they did draft 2, but I still question them offensive line. But I think their defense is solid.
It's better than solid. It's one of the best in the league.
Top 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But
I know it's hard for you to say because you hate the Jets.
I do hate the Jets. Yes. But yeah, I think they'll be a better team. I think they'll be at least a 10-7 team.
Well, my question is, do you think they're good enough to win the Super Bowl?
I don't think
That's
so.
my question.
No.
I think they are good enough to get to the championship round at this point. I mean, like, I don't know if they have what it takes to go all the way, but like this defense was special last year. The offense was dog shit at the end of the year. It started off okay. I mean, like, Zach Wilson wasn't a complete train wreck all year. Like he definitely flamed out at the end bad. But there were some games where he played all right and he kept it afloat. And go look at the numbers. He wasn't that horrible all year.
He was pretty bad out.
Not all year. I'm telling you, at the end of the year, he was horrible. But
I mean, he did get benched in week 3 by Joe Flacco. Well, actually, he was hurt. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he was hurt. Actually, he was hurt because he got hurt in training camp, and then Joe Flacco started at the beginning of the year, and then when he came back from injury, he had those 3 picks, and he got benched.
I think they could go all the way. The expectation now is a Super Bowl win for this team. They have the pieces in place. It's just a matter of having that team chemistry, which with a guy like Rodgers, I feel like it's tough to build that.
He seems all in, though. I mean,
he does.
From the limited amount of interviews and clips and everything, press conference stuff I've seen of him, like he definitely seems invested in this. I don't think he made this decision lightly. I think he really was thinking about retiring.
In my opinion, who this hurts the most? Garrett Wilson. Here's why. I think Rodgers really will favor those 2 guys that they brought in, Lazard and Cobb. Mecole Hardman, I think he's such a Swiss Army knife sort of player that he'll get his. But Rodgers, I feel like, doesn't really develop good chemistry with young wide receivers. He had good chemistry with Christian Watson last year, but that's because he had nobody else to throw to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was going to say with Garrett Wilson, though, I mean, he looks special, though.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like a special young talent.
Absolutely.
And, like, I think that might put him a little bit above a Christian Watson early last year, a Dobbs from the Packers. Like, I don't know. He seems like he's in one of the better young stars. Yeah. And it's a crowded room, though. I mean, like, it is going to be tough for anyone to be the true number 1. I feel like in that room. I feel like they're spreading it out all over the place.
I think personally, Garrett Wilson will be number 1 over Alan Lazard.
I would kind of think so too. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Absolutely. my only other thing, 3rd and 7, you have the 3 wide receivers on the field, Lazard, Cobb, and Wilson. Rodgers drops back to pass. He's looking at Lazard and Cobb before Wilson, in my opinion.
Maybe to start, but I'm thinking the longer he's there, who knows?
Moving on, the Miami Dolphins don't do a whole lot on offense. They do lose Mike Gesicki, but honestly, I don't think that's that big of a loss for them. They bring in help on the secondary in 2 big players with Jalen Ramsey, who they gave up a 3rd and some tight end, I want to say.
Hunter Long.
Hunter Long, thank you.
Yep.
And they bring in Deshaun Elliott on a 1-year deal. So good help in the secondary, which honestly is probably where they needed it most.
They got some depth there because they also brought in Taylor Rapp from the Rams. I mean, the same position as Elliott.
Am I crazy? They still have Xavier Howard.
Yep. Who's still under contract for 1 more year or 2 years. I can't remember.
But I think he has some injury concerns. So very solid secondary. On the offensive side, they do re-sign Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. So that's good.
They also added Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator for defense coordinator.
That's good.
Yeah,
I like that. Kind of.
Somewhat.
It's not bad.
They also added Chosen Anderson from the Cardinals from last year.
Yeah, that's a hard pass.
Chosen Anderson. They'll fucking love that name.
Oh my God!
Myles Gaskin. Was he on the team last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they bring him back too. So they have really good depth in the running back room.
They added Jets and Patriots legend Braxton Berrios to the receiving corps too.
Who?
Making the AFC East swing over here.
Mike
White.
Mike also. Can't forget about the legendary Mike White. What do we think, fellas?
Room in New York wasn't big enough for Rodgers and Mike White.
That's fair. Yeah.
There was too much ego in that room.
Yeah.
I definitely like the Dolphins backfield because they drafted Cam Smith out of South Carolina with Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard, who's the 3rd or 4th best corner in the draft, which I think their safety is good with Deshaun Elliott.
That's right. They have a very, very good secondary now.
Deshaun Elliott actually was kind of a
big piece to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, it actually kind of hurt.
I really like Deshaun Elliott.
He was a really nice player for them last year, so that kind of hurts us watch him walk. But
he's very good at setting the tone on the defense because he lays people out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do like the backfield for the Miami Dolphins and adding Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator for sure.
And I don't like to keep the conversation all about the quarterback, but it's definitely I feel like an area.
It's the biggest piece of the team.
Yeah, and with Miami, I mean Mike White's all you're gonna do. Like, I feel like people don't act like Tua is as much of a concern as he actually is at this point. The dude got 3 concussions last year.
Yeah,
I mean
2 pretty bad ones.
He had to contemplate retiring this offseason.
Yeah,
for real. This was a real conversation, and he's young. He's 24,
26.
No way he's 26.
I think he's either 25 or 26.
Regardless, he's a young player who hasn't even gotten a deal yet. He's on his rookie deal still, and for Miami, they're kind of in a similar window as the Jets and the Bills. It's you have a team right now that you can go win with, and
he's 25.
All they have behind him is Mike White.
And Skylar Thompson from last year.
They're bums. They're both bums.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, know.
Come on.
You have to put faith in the guy. Obviously, anything can happen, but I do see where you're coming from, Al, where
his odds are so much higher than other people.
You have to think that he will not play all 17 games this year.
And I don't know what your options were. I mean, I don't know if I feel like you either had to make a big splash, bring in a Derek Carr or Rodgers or something, or and then he was just the incumbent starter, and then Tua's just out, or you get a good backup behind Tua, but I don't know who you add. I really don't.
Honestly,
maybe a Baker Mayfield.
I know
Sam Darnold. I don't know, somebody.
they lost their first round pick this year, but maybe they could have added Hendon Hooker, which that would have been a great fit, in my opinion.
Yeah, not bad.
Hey, they can call Tom Brady. He's still available.
Well, that's true. Got them in a lot of trouble last time. Well, I don't know. Will Levis was there. I mean, they had options, and I'm wondering if
Jimmy G.
I'm wondering if we're going to look at this offseason for them a year from now and go, man, they actually had a really good team, and they kind of just biffed it there, and they ended up winning 4 games. You know, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be a really interesting thing to think about if it did happen.
Overall, do you think this team got better to the point where they could win the division this offseason?
Yeah.
This division is so tough to predict. I really don't know. I don't think this offseason was a huge make or break thing for them. I think it was fine. I think they beefed up on defense a little bit, and they didn't address the key area on the offense and the backup quarterback. So it's like +1, -1.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neutral for me. I don't know.
So I'm just going to put you down as a no. They did not get better to win the division because
I think they're neutral. They're neutral.
I agree. Their number one thing is that this team is good enough to win the division if Tua is healthy.
Yeah, they already were. So so
they didn't, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills lost a key defensive piece in Tremaine Edmonds this offseason, but re-signed the great linebacker, his partner Matt Milano, to a 2-year extension. They get Jordan Poyer back, and they signed fellow AFC East running back Damian Harris from the Patriots on a 1-year deal. They do lose Devin Singletary to the Houston Texans. Any other notable?
Enormous departure. Case Keenum gone.
Okay.
They also added back to their linebacking core is AJ Klein, who's the other big piece for the linebacking core for Buffalo. So that's a good solid.
I wish I knew him.
He played for the Saints for Sean Payton. He's a pretty solid player. So
okay.
Connor McGovern.
Yeah.
Added him.
Right.
O-line,
right.
right guard.
So we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here now. Let's talk. This team did not make any coaching changes. They regressed technically, even though they were still a very good team last year. They didn't make it to the AFC Championship. They lose to Kansas City once again in the playoffs. Did they do anything to make themselves over the top better than the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason?
They're the same.
They're actually worse. They lost their best linebacker. I mean, that's really
I don't know. Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds are
good.
I would say neck and neck.
Well, they lost a very
defense. Solid piece of the defense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and they didn't really add anyone. I mean, how was their draft? I mean, how'd they do in the draft?
They drafted the best tight end in the draft, Dalton Keaton out of Utah, who's pretty solid, but just another piece.
So they had another offensive weapon
for Josh Allen. But
another piece of the offseason too for them is I feel like there was a lot of chatter of pre-draft about how, or maybe not pre-draft, it was more after their exit in the playoffs about how bitter and pissed off Stephon Diggs was at the whole situation.
Yeah.
And you do start to wonder, I mean, I don't think he's a diva by any stretch, but I do think that he is the kind of guy, if you look at the time at Minnesota at the end of his tenure there and stuff like this, it's like he clearly is the kind of guy who just like gets kind of pissed off from time to time and just doesn't like.
I wouldn't look too much into it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, he's still a great player, but he does have.
He's very passionate.
He's definitely a head case on the sidelines, just a little bit. But I'm sure Josh Allen helps to calm down. But
I guess I just wonder, do you see this as something to even be remotely concerned about with him?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, I think Buffalo's still the same. They lose one piece, they add one more piece to the offense, and I think Alex has made a good point about losing the linebacker who just signed with the Chicago Bears. I think it's still the same to me. I think they're going to be still competitive. I mean, Sean McDermott is still a good coach. I think they'll still lead the division.
But what were people saying last year? People were saying that Josh Allen has to lift the team by himself and do all the work to get them. A lot of people were talking that way, that he had to be Superman every week.
How much of that is on Josh Allen?
A lot of it, but like, what did you do this offseason to change that? Nothing.
What I'm saying is, what do you change about the team at this point? I don't know.
Beef up the running game. I mean, I know you
Which-
invested a 2nd-round pick in James Cook last year, but that was kind of a wet fart. I mean, I didn't really do a whole lot. And, like, beef up the running game, beef up the O-line, add another legit receiver. I mean, like, what are we doing?
It's like a Gabe Davis.
is
Yeah.
Come on, though.
streaky.
Streaky.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And make don't subtract key pieces from the defense and just like
they had to
think
make a
we'll be fine.
decision there.
Yeah.
The problem is that he's making so much now that I
Exactly.
don't know how much you can really add. But like, I don't know. It just feels like they just kind of subtracted pieces and then just said, we'll figure it out, which has kind of been their problem the last couple of years is, Josh Allen's good enough to do it by himself, but clearly he's not.
I guess what I'm getting at is they might not be calling the offense in that way. That's just Josh Allen being Josh Allen, where he feels the
Gunslinger,
need.
Brett Favre.
Yeah, he feels the need to go out and do that. So some of it might fall on Josh Allen. Some of it does fall on the Bills. At this point, though, you have beaten the Chiefs in Kansas City, just not in the postseason. You've made it to the postseason consistently. You're winning your division. You're getting home playoff games. You can't fire the head coach yet.
You're in a holding pattern.
You're in a holding pattern
Yeah.
for sure. Like, there's not a whole lot that you can change at this point. You have a really good team. You have a franchise quarterback. You have a solid defense. There's not a whole lot that you can change. There is stuff that you can add to make it better, but at the same time, you have to retain the talent that you have. You have to make sure that your team is staying intact and you guys are developing good chemistry. I guess
not a whole lot of creative problem solving
Yeah.
going on here. There's
Exactly.
just a lot of
like you have
Same
you know,
to just
situation.
keep pushing forward and trying.
Right.
Which I know at the end of the day, it's not equating to playoff wins. But I don't know what you would change. I mean, the team is good.
you really need to hit on the draft at this point.
Yeah.
With a team like that, you need to get an Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 3rd round. You need to get like a steal player like later who it's like, how did he fall here? And like, how is he producing like league average numbers as a 6th-round draft pick? Like, you need to really hit on those players when you're strapped for cash. We kind of talked about with the Eagles a little bit. I mean, that's what I call being creative, is they in the 1st round end up getting 2 of the best players in the draft to
Mhm.
go supplement key defensive players that are aging out of their spots, because now you're paying Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
But they added dogs in the 1st round. So like that's kind of how you do it. I don't know. It's just I don't see a whole lot of that going on there, and I just don't have any reason to believe they're going to be any better than they were last year. So
Which is still very good.
Yeah, they're still going to
still
be good, but
not a Super Bowl champion, though,
no.
which is the whole window that they're in right now.
Yeah, and plus too, Josh Allen is so fun to watch. I mean, he's an animal. I mean, but like what Al said, I don't want Josh Allen to lead all by himself. I want the players with him to help him out. Like he can't be the one who's controlling all the system by himself. He can't.
That's something that I think Josh Allen needs to figure out for
Yeah.
himself. I don't know how much of that is on the coaching.
If it was really all him, though, the coaching would have reeled him back a bit. I mean, they probably leaned into it a little bit themselves.
That's kind of why
so
I'm like, you know what? Some of it might fall on Josh Allen.
very negative Bills take for me, I feel like, but you know what? That's kind of just how I feel about it.
Here's the question on the Bills. Final question, simple yes or no. Did the division pass them by?
No.
Rodgers is a huge
It was a yes or no question now.
No.
change. I don't know.
Goodness.
I'll say no because they're still in it. They're still in it, but it's a changing landscape for them. It's going to be tougher and tougher for them to hold it down.
I say no. I think they still win the division this year. Finally, we get to Judd's favorite portion of the segment, the New England Patriots. We have our in-house Patriots analyst, Judd. What were your favorite additions? What were your least favorite subtractions for this season, off season?
Well, adding Bill O'Brien back to the offense coordinator spot. That was my favorite part.
Okay.
And we added Juju Smith-Schuster to the wide receiver group.
And how do you feel about that? The wide receivers are always a very touchy subject with the Patriots. They have not really had a star wide receiver since Randy Moss.
And Julian Edelman, for sure.
Okay, yeah, Edelman, that's actually a good point.
I think it's a good addition. I just hope he just stays healthy, which, Juju is. He either plays 1 week or 2 weeks. He's hurt. But I think the condition.
Would you rather have had the Patriots hold on to Jacoby Myers than bring Juju in?
I would like to see that, but there was something behind it. I mean, it's the same amount of money.
He didn't. Yeah, I was going to say he didn't get a gangbusters contract from the Raiders. I mean, I feel like the Patriots, if they really wanted him, probably could have kept him. But
I hate that addition.
I mean, it's the Patriot way, as everyone says.
Yeah.
But most importantly, though, I think they re-signed half their defensive starters back to the team, which is great.
Yep.
And also too, I think Mike Gesicki will help with Hunter Henry. Will be a good fit for them.
That's right.
They swap one out.
Yep, just one out.
Jonnu gone.
Less money, hopefully.
Oh yeah, it was
Less
Jonnu
money.
Smith, not Delaney Walker.
Yeah. But other than that, I feel pretty confident where they are right now with the defense. Question mark is still the offense, but they also added the linebacker / special teams and Chris Board from the Detroit Lions, who's a big steal for the special teams, and Matthew Slater's coming back for his 16th year for the NFL.
No more Devin McCourty, Judd.
Yeah, no more Devin McCourty. Gone. Retired. For sure.
I was talking about Matthew Slater. Matthew Slater's been in the league for 16 years.
Yep.
That is wild. You could have told me
he's the
that,
ultimate Patriot.
You could have told me that he was going into his third year, and I would have believed you.
He's the ultimate Patriot.
I got a couple additions on here, Judd, that you didn't mention that I think were great. One, Jabril Peppers.
Oh, he's a re-sign. Yeah, I knew that. I had it on my list.
He was a re-sign?
Mm-hmm.
He was on the team last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh. I must have missed that. The other one, I'm blanking on his first name. He's your Damian Harris replacement.
Oh, yeah, James Robinson.
Yeah,
I knew that.
Thank you. Yeah. 2-year, $8 million deal. I think that's good.
He did nothing on the Jets.
That's on the Jets. I think James Robinson still has that dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can be great. And I'll tell you what, here's my hot take. Within 2 years' time, Christian Gonzalez will be the best cornerback in the NFL.
Wow.
That's a good solid. I do believe that. So
they are the
cornerback factory.
Well,
when's the last time that they invested a first round pick in a corner either?
Devin McCourty.
So Bill must really like him. I mean,
exactly.
That's a good point.
Speaking
of, I feel like it's a good segue just into Belichick in general. I mean, it's been a while now since the Patriots have really done anything. I mean, it's been, I don't know, 4 years since 3-4 seasons since they've been. I guess they made the playoffs Mac Jones rookie year.
Yeah,
but they got bombed
by Buffalo at Buffalo.
I mean, what's your comfort level this year with you alluded to Bill O'Brien coming back, but just with you're re-racking with Belichick. I think going into last year, I was a lot more optimistic on this team, and this year, similar to the Bills, I'm just kind of like, well, what are you really doing to like make this seem like it's a big drastic shift, and especially in such a competitive division now? I mean, how are you feeling about Bill Belichick at this point?
I'm feeling much better. What they added this offseason. Believe me, I mean, I was a little frustrated at the end of the year. We're not in this playoff for the second time in 2 years. I will say it's just been an interesting offseason. I'm very excited about it, and we're going to actually do better this year for offense. And then we drafted 2 receivers in the draft, and we signed most of our defensive players who wanted to come back to play for Bill Belichick. I mean, like Lucas said, Christian Gonzalez is going to be fun to watch, and we're going to be the better defense, and we're going to be a top 10 defense, I think.
You just have such a mammoth division in front of you, though.
Right.
I mean, you've got 3 of the best teams in the AFC to contend with.
I would throw the league in there.
I was about to say it, but I didn't want to go that far. I don't know.
I would say it. They're definitely 3 of the best teams in the NFL.
So right now I'm looking at them and I'm still thinking last place.
And that's a little insult to me because Miami could be last place also.
If Tua doesn't finish the year, then yes, I think Miami's de facto last place. But
I don't think it's a slight to the Patriots to say that they would do that. I think they could easily win the division in a couple other ones.
Oh yeah,
Right?
not the East though. Yeah, I mean if they were in a different division, I think they'd be right up there.
Right. I just think it's Sophie's choice on who you're going to try to outlast in that division. It's going to be a bloodbath.
The urgency is much more there for the other three teams, and Belichick has climbed the mountain many times, and it's just I wondered, is the urgency there for them to go do it?
I think so.
Did the division pass up the Patriots?
No.
Okay. I think it did, but
I hate to say it, you can't leave the girl that you came to the dance with, aka Belichick, but I think it did as well.
we need to rank everyone's off seasons like we did last show.
Okay, let's rank them then. Your worst off season.
Buffalo.
I gotta agree. I think it was Buffalo.
Because what did they really do besides lose a key player on defense? Not
Nothing.
much.
No.
Not a whole lot.
Nope.
Your third place?
New England, I'd probably say. Because, I don't feel like they did a whole lot to really beef up and load up and, like, take a step forward. I feel like they kind of were treading water a little bit. And I think Christian Gonzalez is a great draft pick. I don't love Juju. I don't love Mike Gesicki. I don't love their offseason. So I like it more than Buffalo, but not by a whole lot. So New England at 3 for me.
Judd?
Jets.
That is ludicrous.
Well, think about this, Al. I mean, Randall Cobb, who's like 35 years old.
How about Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers hasn't been Aaron Rodgers.
He was the MVP 2 out of the last 3 years.
What was the stats last year, Al? Not 45 touchdowns.
Ridiculous. Okay.
It's 22 or 23 touchdowns.
That's a Max Kellerman take.
It's a horrible take, but all right.
I'm going to say Miami. I think New England did beef up in certain areas that they needed to. Wow.
Judd was just coming at me because I put New England at 3, and he was like, "I need to just get a fucking jab in or something, like to piss him off."
I think Miami, while they did increase the secondary's, strength, I think that's really all they did. They didn't change too much, and as Al mentioned, they didn't solve the biggest issue on that team, and that's the backup quarterback. So I'm going to go Miami at 3.
For 2, I'm going to go Miami pretty much for all the reasons you just said, but I do feel like them retaining a lot of the people that they retained or them treading water a little bit, like they were pretty good last year. They're pretty darn good. And if everything goes well for them, then they'll be fine. The backup quarterback is a big concern. So I think 2 and 3 with the Patriots and Dolphins for me are very, very neck and neck close. But I will put Miami 2 just because I think the core of that team is still good enough to go get it done.
Judd?
I have the Patriots at 2.
Okay. I have the Patriots at 2. I think they added a lot of talent. They brought back a lot of talent. The one glaring thing to me is still that wide receiver. Who is going to step up there? And I'm telling you right now, it ain't going to be Juju.
Yep,
No.
For sure.
I don't think so either, but yeah.
So hopefully they figure that out.
Still there, Judd?
Yeah, we still have him, but we still have that Tyquan Thornton from last year's draft, and we drafted 2 more in the draft this year, so
can't wait to watch him.
Hopefully one of those guys pans out.
Sleep in it, pig.
Number 1, I mean,
Al, you and
how
I
can
have
it
the
not
same
be
one.
the New York Jets?
It's the New York Jets.
And Judd, to reiterate, we're not talking about who we think is going to finish the best. We're saying who has the best off season.
Well,
of
I'll
these
give you my
teams.
honest opinion about the Jets because I think Aaron Rodgers is not the same Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, but he's a massive upgrade on Zach Wilson. Regardless, even if he's diminished Aaron Rodgers, like you're saying, he is a huge upgrade from Zach Wilson.
Yeah, okay.
I'll put it this way. When you look at a team, any team that made a change in quarterback this season, when you think about what they went from to where they are now in that position, there's nobody that made a larger impact, a larger improvement than the Jets.
100%.
They added things around to make him feel comfortable. They have a great running game. They have a great wide receiver room. Well,
overflowing, but
an overflowing
good.
and good
Great.
wide receiver room, and still a star-studded top 3, easily, possibly the best defense in the NFL. So
that is how you answer. How are you going to last in the toughest division in the league? You try and make your team the best effing team in the division. That's what you try and do, and that's what they did. So I think, they're A+ to me off season.
Well, like I said in the beginning, my question mark still is the offensive line for the Jets.
It'll be fine.
I don't know.
We will have to wait and see.
Yep. Like I said, I put Miami at 1. They just had a good offseason. I like their backfield with Howard, Ramsey, and they drafted the one corner out of South Carolina, Smith, and all that stuff. And then adding on offense for Mike McDaniel. And like Al said, question mark for Tua if he's going to stay healthy all year. So in the backup quarterback situation is not great. But at least Mike White has experience playing the game. I mean, I'll say that. But
he started an NFL game, so I guess that's technically experience.
Couple of games, dumbass.
He's not good, dude.
He's won a couple.
He's won a couple. Not great games, but other than that, they added some pieces in the offense again and defense, and also most importantly, Vic Fangio, who got added to the defensive coordinator job, which I think is a good spot for him. He's won a couple games as a head coach, so that's why I think at Miami that won.
Hot take, but it's got some solid evidence behind it, I guess.
I don't hate it.
You're Jets. Give me a break.
All right.
Let's go ahead. Let's jump into the Lions' schedule.
Let's go Lions!
Okay, gentlemen, the best part of the show is now up to bat. The Lions segment, we're talking schedule release. How about this? No scheduled primetime games last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't include Thanksgiving because it's just something that happens to us every single year.
And also, the last game of the year for primetime, of course, is at Green Bay.
Well, yeah, so no scheduled. We did get flexed into a Sunday night game, and that was purely so people could watch Rodgers go to the playoffs. And we kind of spoiled that party.
Mm-hmm.
4, not including Thanksgiving, which I know a lot of people consider a primetime game, but 4 primetime games this year, including a big shocker, the Lions heading to Kansas City week 1 to open up the season. Immediate thoughts on that one?
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
That's as good as it gets as a Lions fan. I mean, I don't know. I've thought about this game a lot already, and I've got mixed thoughts on it. I guess. I mean,
it's a mixed bag.
I'm very excited for it. I think it's a very exciting game to open the season. It really makes Detroit feel like, okay, there's something fun to watch about them this year. There's some gas here. Like,
we're being noticed.
Yeah.
Finally.
But also, there's the other side of it where we're potentially walking into a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
And if they do get embarrassed on national TV against the Super Bowl champions week 1, that is a really tough way to start your year.
It is.
So I don't know. I'm very excited for it, but yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I really hope it's just a tight game, and win or lose, I just hope it's a good game for them. I don't want it to be a blowout by any means. That'd be pretty horrible. I mean, blowout for us would be great, but I don't know, man. How are you feeling about it?
If they do blow out the Chiefs by some miracle, I love Dan Campbell's quote where if we win, we're not going to be expected to lose again, which I think is very true. If the Lions go into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs week 1,
they're serious. They're serious contender.
The hype will become something that we've never seen before in Detroit. Every single media outlet will be talking about Detroit. If we lose, I think there is a silver lining to it. I think some of the hype will die down which I know the players have been saying that it's not getting to them, but I think it will just be helpful to not have that all this hype put on them before they even play a game. So I think that will be good. And I also think teams will start underestimating us a little bit more, possibly. Probably not, but that's a possibility.
I feel like with this week 1 matchup, I feel like Lions hype is actually starting to balloon a little bit.
You think it's getting a little too big?
Yeah, because I even go check, I immediately went to the comments section and all the postings about this game just to see. And people are making a good point. I mean, people are already acting like the Lions won something.
Yeah.
They didn't do shit. I mean, I'm sorry. We had a great year last year. At the end of the year, we really rallied and had a great turnaround. But, yeah, this team hasn't been in the playoffs since 2017, 2016. I mean, it's been a while. And, 2-3 years ago, this was a CFL expansion roster. I mean, it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And we were coming off of the worst regime possibly in the history of the franchise. This team, everyone's excited for them to make a big step this year, but
it's
yeah,
not
my
guaranteed.
goodness. I mean, the hype is through the fucking roof right now. And it's I feel like it's kind of at a boiling point, and I don't know. It makes me a little a little apprehensive. I don't know. It's we haven't really done much to deserve it, to be honest.
It's understandable feeling that way. I feel the same way, where this is usually the part where they let us down, right? We get all this hype around us, and then they go out and they lay an egg. It very well, that is SOL thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a BNL podcast.
This is a BNL podcast. We're staying optimistic. We had a lapse of judgment during the draft, but we're back.
I think we were appropriately judging the draft. I think we're all right.
I'm saying while the draft was happening, we had a lapse of judgment.
Well,
I mean, somebody did in this room.
Yeah, someone in this room did.
We're not going to say who, Judd. The Patriots fan. But I think this could be really good for us. There's never been this much attention on Detroit, and I know that they haven't won anything, but there's also never been this much optimism, excitement, and I think we just have to ride the wave, right?
Well, it's coming whether we like it or not. So
right. So we have that game, week 4, Thursday Night Football in Green Bay.
You're not just going straight down the 1 through 17. You're just gonna.
Well, no.
I do have one for our big. I do have one though for.
Can I get through the game?
No, because hold on. Let's literally go 1 through 17.
I'm going to the bathroom.
List them off because we gotta let's say them.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't have them in front of me.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Then I'm running the show.
I got it.
I got it. I'll pull it up.
I'm just saying, rifle through them, and then let's go through the ones that you would like to talk about. Because we got to put them all out there. It's the Lions schedule show.
All right. August 25th, preseason.
Well, we don't have to preseason. Come on.
Okay. We're on the road against the Chiefs week 1. Week 2 and 3, we're at home. We play the Seahawks and then the Falcons.
Ooh, that's a rematch, too.
That is a rematch of one of the highest scoring games in Lions history, 48-45 last year. The Lions are on the road Thursday Night Football in week 4 against the Packers. We are back home week 5 against the Panthers. Back on the road week 6 against the Bucks. Staying on the road week 7 against the Ravens. Week 8 Monday Night Football comes back to Detroit to face the Las Vegas Raiders. I believe we are on bye after that. We come back in week 10. We are on the road against the Chargers. We're at home against the Bears in week 12. 13, we are on the road, we're hosting the Packers for Thanksgiving. Week 14, we are on the road in New Orleans, staying on the road for week 15 against the Bears. Week 16, we are
home.
Tonight?
Yep, we're home.
I'm counting this wrong, I think. We're home against the Broncos.
Yep.
I think that is actually technically week 15. Week 16, we are on the road against the Vikings. Week 17, we're on the road against the Cowboys. Week 18, we rounded out with at home against the Vikings.
Thank you. Now I have a full picture of what we're talking about.
You couldn't even relay to me the first 5 games.
Lucas, what game do you want to jump into?
Let's jump into Thursday Night Football, week 4, on the road against the Packers. Here's the interesting thing about this game. I'm seeing a lot of Detroit media saying that we'll lose this game.
What Detroit media?
Woodward Sports for one.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just seeing a couple fans throwing it out there that we predicting a loss at this game. I can't wrap my mind around it.
Well,
the Packers have not gotten better. Excuse me.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Chippy podcast.
Yeah, you're all fucking fired up, man.
The chips are off the table, okay?
We went into Green Bay on Sunday Night Football where they could get into the playoffs last season and beat them. Our team has gotten better. Their team has gotten significantly worse. I cannot make heads or tails of why people think that we will lose this game.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yes, go ahead, Al.
Okay. Well, because of
actually, hold on.
Because of like this game probably means something to them after the way last season ended, and it's a road game, right?
Yeah.
In Lambeau.
Yep.
It is in Lambeau.
I feel like this is a big statement game. They unceremoniously get taken out of the race last year by the Lions, and what better way for Jordan Love to really make a mark his first year and going and beating the team that axed them last year, a division rival who's on the rise. I don't know. It makes the pieces are there for an upset game. I don't know if it will happen, but like the Lions do need to lose some games. They're not going to go 17-0. It's not going to happen. 16-0, whatever.
Says you.
It's not going to happen. And Lambeau is a hard place to go play, and it's early in the year. That's the only benefit I'll give the Lions on this one. It's
that's
an early
a good
matchup, but
that's a good thing if it's early beginning of the year, though.
I don't think it's a crazy take they would lose it. I don't know.
I think we go in there and we slap them around. It is our first divisional game. I don't know if that's the same for the Packers.
No, they played Chicago week 1.
There you go. We are the NFC North division record champs.
Shut up.
You're jinxing it.
I'm
so excited!
I just know that they're going to want to start the division outright. We got a layup of a game, probably the easiest opponent in the division this year.
That's a bold take.
Who's
Chicago.
worse? I wouldn't agree.
I would say maybe even the Vikings are worse than the Packers.
No, I definitely wouldn't agree with that. Green Bay, they hardly added
Minnesota
anybody.
was a joke.
They
They're
should
a
have-
fluky,
Absolutely
fluky mess.
I agree. They're better than Green Bay. I think we cock slap them.
I'm so excited!
You guys want to know what game I want to talk about next?
Well, yeah, you know what? It's like
you want me to hijack this whole fucking
it's
segment?
Lucas's world. We're just living in it. So yeah, go ahead, talk about whatever the fuck.
Put your
you
balls
want
on
to
the
talk
table
about.
and
Yeah.
speak up then.
You dumb bitch.
What game do you want to talk about?
Well, I can talk about the one I hate the most,
I
or
can-
the opponent I hate the most, besides the division
Same.
opponent,
Go ahead.
Raiders. I hope we just bomb on
That's
them.
the one I was going to talk about.
Well, there you go.
How
Well,
funny
never
is
mind.
that?
Yeah, I hope that's a game where we absolutely like bomb that team.
I can't believe you're not even leading with the good part. This is a Monday Night Football game in Detroit, baby.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football is my least favorite primetime slot. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, because we went to that one against the Giants.
Yeah, the last one in Detroit was the New York Jets.
was-
that's
Sam
right.
Darnold
I'm sorry.
debut.
That's right. That's
It
right.
was the start of the Patricia era.
So I'm a little burn on that one still.
Hey, but you know what? We had that first play, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah,
Stephon
One of-
Diggs.
No, Quandre.
Quandre, I'm sorry.
Quandre
God,
Diggs.
Sorry.
Pick 6 on Sam Darnold, his first career throw. It was the greatest moment of ever going to a Lions game I've ever experienced. I couldn't believe how hyped we got.
No, that's nonsense. That's garbage.
It was nothing but downhill from there.
I don't remember that game anyways.
But if you listen to the last podcast, you really would hear our disdain for the Raiders this year. So just to know that one's a primetime Monday Night Football game.
Very
I love
excited for that.
Yeah, I love it. I
Very
hope
excited.
you smash them. That'd be great.
I would say my dad hates this game already, but I texted him like a couple nights ago about the schedule. But I said, Dad, they're playing Dallas on a Saturday night at 8:30, and he goes, I hope they kick their ass. I can't stand the Cowboys, and I'm like, yeah, because ever since the playoff experience with Matthew Stafford, that call over, I can't remember what it was like, like
the PI call.
The PI call.
Everybody knows. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that should be a good game to watch.
The Lions never play good in Dallas, though.
Yep.
They never do.
They always get smoked. So.
That's going to be a huge game. That's going to have playoff implications, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for both teams. I mean, yeah, Dallas is probably going to be trying to take the division, and we're going to be hopefully in the same spot. So.
Or it could be Mike McCarthy's job on the line too.
Oh, it could.
One of those games.
It definitely could.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, we have. That's pretty much all our primetime games outside of the Thanksgiving one. Who the fuck cares? It's Thanksgiving. We get it every year.
Mm-hmm.
How about the season on the whole here? I have a great little insight. I can't remember the Twitter user's name, but he pointed this out, and I thought it was actually huge. From November on, the Lions do not have a cold outdoor game except for the one in Chicago in December, which
that's huge.
That is so massive. Goff does not play well in cold weather, and yet we might not have to deal with that this year.
That'd be great. I mean, obviously the postseason would be a different animal if and when that happens. But yeah, that's a huge thing in our favor. Absolutely.
There's only do we count SoFi as an outside stadium?
No,
it's in California. Come on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know it's in California, so either way it's going to be warm. But does it count as? I guess it's a hybrid.
It's an indoor hybrid stadium, basically.
Yeah,
I don't think
would who knows? But only one out. Oh no, one outdoor game. From November on. Everything else is in a dome, so that really helps our offense.
I thought I read the Lions' strength of schedule was in the bottom third.
The strength of schedule is relatively low, which is shocking considering we finished second in our division last year. So
Judd, your boys, the Patriots, are going to have a really tough year.
Bad one. I'm looking scared on that part, but it should be interesting though.
I think what really helps us is the fact that we get the NFC South this year, considered the worst division in football. And what doesn't help us is the fact that we got the AFC West, one of the better divisions in football.
Yeah. I'm not scared of this division anymore. Last year I would have been.
AFC West?
Yeah. Last year I would have been a lot more worked up about it, but really the Chiefs are the only true buzzsaw team in that division to me. And it's week one. Yeah. We're going to try and slay the dragon first game of the year. I mean, that's
the fact that that's week one is huge.
Yeah, it's major.
Huge. That is huge. We get that one out of the way.
You'd rather deal with it week one than instead when they're like 11-2 and then like getting ready for the Super Bowl run.
Plus two though. Sean Payton's been off for a year from coaching. It's still going to take him a while to get figured out with Russell Wilson, and Josh McDaniels is a complete clusterfuck. Personally,
when is the Broncos game?
That's like week 16, wasn't it?
18, 17, 15.
15. Okay,
that's not a good spot for that. Yeah.
I hate that game.
Yeah, that's a bad spot.
I think that a lot of people are forgetting about the Broncos, and I think that they're going to put the league on notice. I think
if everything goes right for them, they're going to be a lot more dangerous this year.
Yeah,
and the Chargers are the Chargers. Brandon Staley is just like Detroit. I mean, no offense, but. Like Jim Caldwell was the same way. Like Al said, Matthew Stafford was leading the team, and Justin Herbert is definitely leading the Chargers by himself.
I think we're going to get the AFC West that we expected last year.
Yeah,
this year. I think that division is going to, outside of the Raiders. I still think the Raiders are going to.
Yeah, I mean, I think a Chargers game is a coin flip. Honestly,
yeah,
they're that kind of team, and I think a Raiders game should be a beating.
Should win.
And the Broncos and Chiefs would be, they would be question mark games, especially with Denver being that late. Chiefs be question?
It should be a high scoring game.
It's not that it won't be high scoring. It's that the question mark being, can we win the game? I don't know if we can. It's going to be a really tall order to do in Arrowhead week one.
I think the backfield for Detroit is solid, and I think they can get the Chiefs wide receivers.
Yeah, I guess having them week one is good because they need to really take time to figure out the chemistry with everybody. I mean, obviously Mahomes and Kelsey are automatic, dominant. but
everybody else
is kind of a question mark. So
the other thing, week 9 bye, probably the latest bye we've had in a while. I think we actually might have had week 9 2 years ago, but
usually it's like week 6, isn't it?
It's like the NFL just loves to fuck us that way, where they put our bye week so early in the damn season.
But you can't do this to me.
It kills us. It kills us every year. So that's huge. Great bye week. 8 games to start the bye week. How are we feeling about those 8 games? I mean, we got very winnable games in the first 5.
List them all one more time.
Chiefs, Seahawks, Falcons, Packers, Panthers, Bucks, Ravens, Raiders.
Chargers, Chicago.
No. That's
I'm
then
sorry.
we hit the bye week.
Man, I feel like if we're 2 games up from 500, we're in good shape. I don't know.
So 6-2.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that is extremely realistic.
because we're definitely going to lose a couple of those.
I feel
Maybe
like
2 or 3.
5-3 is where I'm pegging them to be.
I have a feeling you hear that feeling the Lions should have won this game.
That happens every year.
I mean, it's just like the game they should have won and this and that, but there's something about it. I have a feeling that's going to happen.
Week 1 is going to set the tone. It really is.
We need to take a page out of Patricia's book and actually do it this year. We need this year to be dagger time. We need to close out games. We need to win games that we should win. I'm talking about the Seahawks. Yeah, I'm talking about the Falcons. I'm talking about the Panthers.
Just take care of business games.
Those 3 games, that's like, if you're showing me those 3 games on paper, I'm saying we're dropping one of those.
Yeah, because like the way I see it is like the Lions are totally capable of pulling an upset big win.
Yeah.
But they could totally lose a Falcons game.
Exactly.
Like, because there's like also other teams like the Falcons and Seahawks are kind of like squirrely, surprising, gutsy teams.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, Falcons had a nice offseason too. I mean, they added Bijan in the draft and like they have a pretty good identity like on offense with Arthur Smith. Like, you never know. That team could come in and surprise you. Like, it's those games that you're right. It's like you need to go button up, take care of business, and win those ones. And then the big matchup games, like, you can have a little flexibility there with some of the big marquee games. Like if you win some, lose some, you'll live. But
it's great. Exactly. If you win, great. If you lose, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Survive.
Anything else?
I think Bryce Young will be fun to watch in this year's games, especially versus him. And Adam Thielen comes back to Detroit, former Minnesota Viking. Also,
that one should be a
Judd, you're missing
him game.
You're missing the Adam Thielen comes back. DJ Chark comes back.
Oh yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
that should be one of the check the box, take care of business games. When a team has, I know they traded up, but number 1 pick, starting over,
especially
coach, come on,
especially after last year.
Yeah. And also too, though, what you said about check the box is definitely against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Maybe, but like we don't know what they are. I mean.
Come on, Tom
should beat them.
Come on.
Fair.
All right.
Obviously, we'll have record prediction, win-loss predictions much later in the offseason. But
yeah,
for now, I guess on the whole, feelings of the schedule.
Great.
I'm excited. I think there's a lot of legit tests in here and some hopefully layup, check-the-box games. I hope it's a good mix. I love the primetime slots. I love week 1. I'm excited, man.
I'm excited for Monday Night Football this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year. Let's go ahead. Let's close the show out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Thank you again for listening to episode 72 of Gridiron Zeros podcast.
Because we're best friends. I love you, my dude.
Be sure to follow us on TikTok. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, on YouTube, Gridiron Zeros. We will be back next week for the AFC South recap, off-season recap, and a whole bunch of other shit that's going on in the NFL. All right. Well, we will catch you on the next one. Make good choices, good decisions always.
Judd, thank you for coming back.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Maybe you can come back again later in the offseason, but probably not.
Are you still insulted from the Jets comment?
I mean, it's a pretty bad
all right.
take. So,
I mean, I'm just being honest with you. So,
You dumb bitch.
We're straying away here. We'll catch you on the next one, ladies and gentlemen.
Later.